When I worked on this review, I felt like a turd. 39-degree fever, herd crest, didn't get a word. To get healthy again, I had to make some decisions. Now, instead of cold sweats, I'm getting cold visions. Sup Dingle Gang, it's ya boy Dingleton here with another Dingleview. Now that January is behind us, I don't have to talk about Japanese jazz anymore, and I can just talk about whatever I want. You know, it's really cold out here in Sweden, so I thought it would be fitting for me to talk about a cold Swedish album. Of course I'm talking about Cold Visions by Blady. Now, the Swedish cloud rapper slash Drain Gang CEO isn't someone I was very familiar with at the time, with most of my prior knowledge boiling down to an Instagram reel I've seen. But at the end of last year, I saw Fantano sing some praises about his recent work, so I thought I would maybe check it out. I won't be able to do my usual track review with this album, as this album is a whopping 30 tracks long, and I'd probably be sitting here for an hour. So I'll just try to talk about the different aspects of the album and how they come together in the end. Now, as a first-time listener, the first thing that immediately jumps out is Blady himself. He is a very unique artist, known for his amateurish delivery and auto-tuned vocals with a thick Swedish accent. At first it was really off-putting to me, especially when first discovering his older hits like Be Nice to Me, a song that took me so much time to see the appeal of, that I had to rewrite my script just before recording, as I originally trashed this song. Compared to his older work, his unorthodox singing isn't as much on the forefront, as this album is mostly him rapping, with a few instances of him singing, like on the track Flatline, actually being some of my highlights on this album. So how does his rapping hold up on this rap album? Overall, I think that Blady's flows are really bad, especially atrocious on tracks like I Don't Wanna Hang Out and The Lows Partly. His writing isn't anything to write home about either, as he tries to be so edgy on this record that it ends up sounding more corny than anything, like something you'd see on r/I'm 14 and This Is Deep, when he's not being an edgy cornball. All of his bars are just dumb quotables like "man fuck being depressed asbestos," or "you're watching YouTube shorts," or "me and young Sherman at the gym working out and getting tan." This, together with really repetitive songwriting, leads to tracks like I Don't Like People, a track where he just keeps chanting that he doesn't like people. Or Sad Meal, an entire track about how when he goes to McDonald's, instead of getting the Happy Meal, he gets the sad meal, cause he's sad. I'm guessing that this has the same appeal as something like Lil B, who's another underground rapper with really absurd lyrics, but I personally just don't get it. Blady isn't the only one rapping, as this album has got a few features. Most prominently, Young Lean appears on 4 different tracks. Lean and Blady have got some really good chemistry, but I can't help but feel that Lean absolutely outshines Blady on every single track that he's featured on. I haven't really listened to Young Lean's solo work, so I can't say for sure if he's actually good or if he just looks good compared to Blady, but either way, the tracks with Lean on them are some of the most memorable ones on this album. Now, something that I feel that this album gets right is the production. The majority of this album was produced by Filthy, who was a pretty big player on a certain Red album. And he doesn't disappoint on here either. The entire album features odd synths being drowned out by snappy kicks, great claps, and 808s distorted to hell. Blady often brings a very trap-heavy style with him, and I feel that Filthy's rage influence blends with it quite nicely. My favorite aspect of the production has gotta be the sampling. The beats themselves aren't crazy sample flips from what I can tell, but we get a bunch of fun noise, such as the same evil laugh sampled on an MF Doom song appearing on Paranoia intro, or a chopped round of Smash Bros on the transition between Terrible Excellence and Red Cross. The most unique part of this is the constant barrage of audio logos omnipresent throughout the tracklist. Every track features multiple reminders of what album you're listening to, whether it's an intimidating whisper going "Cold Visions," or a chopped text-to-speech going "Cold Visions,"
Cold Visions,
or a samurai going "Blade." This, together with Filthy's producer tag, absolutely tickles my brain, and is probably my favorite detail on this record. I think that more albums should include audio watermarks.
Audio Jungle.
Imagine how much better Good Kid, Mad City would have been if every single song started with "You're listening to a good kid in a mad city." Now let's talk about what I believe is the most important part of an album, the track list. When I'm thinking about a track list, there are two qualities that immediately jump out to me. Percentage of skips and variety. You can have a 20-track album, but if 10 of them are just okay, or dare I say mid, then 50% of the album just sucks. At that point, I'd rather have a 10-track album that's just bangers. I want to make an entire video on this one day. But this is why I often prefer EPs over LPs, and why I'm often against deluxe albums. The other thing, variety, is a bit harder to define, but generally, if a whole lot of tracks on an album express the same idea, are instrumentally very similar, or serve the same purpose within the tracklist, it really lowers my perception of the album. Now back to Cold Visions. This is an absolutely garbage tracklist. It's a whopping 30-track album with at most 5 good tracks, which is a pretty unflattering ratio. Because there are so many, most of these tracks are barely 2 minutes a pop, so ideas just come and go without sticking. Actually, there aren't very many ideas at all on this album, as Blady remains just as edgy and just as bad at rapping on every single track. Even the hype Filthy production, which I praised, loses all of its charm over the course of 30 tracks. And by the end of the album, I'm just sick and tired of it. Neither the few decent interludes, good calm cuts, or the alright features managed to save this tracklist from all the repetitive rage slop. And I can honestly, hand on Bible, not remember a single track of the last third of the album. So as a conclusion, this is a tediously long album, both written and performed terribly, with the positives of the album not only being unrelated to Blady, but actively dragged down by him. The interesting aesthetical aspects, such as the blend of rage trap production or the constant audio logos, grow stale over the course of 30 tracks and would thrive much better with another, more talented MC. I'm sorry Drainers, but this is the worst album I've covered yet, and it's going below Cardi.